too. Um, there's also, of course, some very competent Chinese AI companies that there's several that are very good. The new Kimi model.
Kimi K3, yeah, the one that came out last week, I mean, it was almost as good as Fable, right? So
Well, I think realistically, Fable is still clearly the smartest model. I think anyone realistically would say that that's still the case, but the Kimi model is getting quite close to Fable. Now, Anthropic had Mythos, from which Fable is derived. I think they had that ready in February, so they've got sort of what they call, I'm not sure what they call it, but Mythos 2 or Fable 6 or something much better than what they had in February. They almost certainly have, not almost certainly, they certainly have right now. So, and I think they could release it at any time.
just before we get on to releasing, how do you think about the Chinese models and the geopolitics of it? Are you worried about the Chinese catching up and getting ahead?
Given that the Chinese AI companies are doing as well as they are with a relatively small amount of compute, it seems though as that if they had a lot of compute, there's a good chance that they would be the leaders. And at some point, they probably will have a lot of compute.
So they will be the leaders.
There's a good chance that they are the leaders at some point. You can think of like the constraints on AI are essentially electricity and AI chips. And then for physical AI, the robots. China's also got some very good robot companies. In fact, they have these like robot sporting events. I don't know if you've seen some of them.
Yes, I have. I saw them last time I was in Beijing. I saw the robots.
Well, and then they have this sort of like a boxing match or a fighting match with the robots, which is quite entertaining. And I saw some video of a robot that got his head knocked off, kept fighting, even with his head knocked off. It looked pretty funny, but I mean, in fact, I think the robot battles are going to be quite entertaining to watch.
But just
so China's very strong on robots, very strong on digital AI, and if you look at electricity production, you can say like AI is a function of whatever the limiting factor is, if it's chips or electricity. China has far more electricity than the United States. In fact, China has more electricity than the United States, Europe, and India combined already, and is heading to, and my guess is China gets to 4 times the electricity production of the US, which is roughly proportionate to the population.
what should the US government do about this? I mean, presumably it is a little alarming if you have an authoritarian regime far ahead in the most powerful technology. And clearly what the US government has been trying to do is, with the export controls and so forth, keep China back. Do you think they should ban the use of K3, Kimi K3, for example?
Well, the US government they can pass some law that prevents US companies from using Chinese models, but they can't stop the rest of the world from using them. So it's not like the US government has authority over China or the rest of the world.
Do you think they should stop US companies from using them? There's talk of that right now, right?
I don't think that helps. That won't stop China from being the leader in AI. Really, it's for digital intelligence. It comes down to how much AI compute do you have? Well, how many chips do you have, and how much power do you have? How much electricity do you have? So the constraint right now, I think, is actually slightly more on power and cooling than it is on AI chips, because the power demands of the AI chips are very, very high. We'll talk about water demands, but really the water usage of AI is negligible, almost nothing. But the electrical demand is very high.
That's why you're thinking of orbital data centers, presumably.
The constraint for any AI chips not being turned on in China is electricity and like power and cooling, and the electrical equipment and everything. The rate at which AI chips are being made exceeds the rate at which new electricity is coming online
In China. Okay.
outside of China.
Outside China, I see, yeah.
And since China, the U.S. has banned the export of the latest AI chips to China, China is somewhat chip starved.
But they are becoming much more efficient at using the chips that they have, and that one of the
Yes,
striking things of Kimi K3, right, is that how efficiently they.
and China is also, I think, closer than most people realize to solving